What's going on, fellas, ladies? Happy Friday morning to you. Hopefully everybody's doing well as we gear up for the weekend and we gear up for money-making weekend. It is going to be a big weekend, and hopefully for goddamn sure it is going to be a money-making weekend as well. Let's make sure we, of course, recap yesterday first, and then we'll dive into today's action where we've got some soccer bets, we've got some NBA bets, and then we've also got some NFL action as well. We'll kick it off again with that recap where we started off with the loss yesterday morning, dabbled in some tennis, and every sport has their little frustrating thing that happens within a game when you make a bet. This guy Martyrer, he loses the first set 6-4, no big deal. We've got him at plus 1.5 sets. Just needs to win a set. Don't need him to win the match. And then he just sandbags it and throws in the towel and just put in a shitty performance in that second set, and it was absolutely disgusting what he did in that second set and lost 6-2. So he quit on us. Hate to see that right there. Then, of course, we had three bets there in that Chelsea versus Manchester City game. Hopefully you guys watched it. Even though it was low scoring, I thought it was, relatively, a good match. We were able to hit that under 58.5 possession as the game finished 47-53. We missed on the corners and we missed on Holland. I don't know, fellas. What do you think about that game? What was City doing in that first half? They weren't being City-like to me. They were kind of standoffish in their attack. And what I mean by that is they were getting the ball out wide, most notably to Consuelo. That was probably their biggest threat in that first half, but they weren't, working it to the end line and getting in square balls, whether those square balls make it through the box and a guy has a shot on goal, or, a defender blocks it and then they get a corner. They weren't very attacking in that first half. They didn't do all that whole hell of a lot. Foden was non-existent. Holland, he only had 2 touches, and one of those touches was from a defensive perspective when he was high up the pitch working the press and he turned Chelsea over. And his other touch in the first half, he got a shot with it, but they couldn't get any delivery into Holland. They weren't doing all that much. They looked better in the second half for the first, 10, call it 15 minutes. But then it was kind of much of the same. Not an impressive performance, by City at all. They get a goal. I don't know what the hell Arrizabalaga doing. You got to come up and swallow that ball up. You can't let a ball roll through your 6-yard box. What is Arrizabalaga doing right there? So I definitely thought City was fortunate. I thought in the first half, Chelsea was the better side. They had way better chances. I mean, it wasn't like there was a ton chances or those chances were great in their own right. But I still thought they had better chances. So then second half was generally, much of the same. So I like the bets we put out in that game. Again, we hit possession. The corners, I kind of blame City's attack. It's kind of head-scratching what they were doing. I wish we would have added City money line. We talked about that on TikTok Live as well. Thought City was going to win the game, and that's what they did. They certainly needed some help, but they got the job done. And then I wish we should have played under 2.5 goals. We should have played under 2.5 goals. I knew Chelsea wasn't going to score. You just don't get looks at Chelsea's goals. So unfortunate. Again, I'm happy with the ones we played. I thought that corners angle was still by far one of the better angles in the match. Just City was just farting around. So those games play on Sunday. Probably going to be another low-scoring affair. 2 good defenses, good goalkeepers. As long as Mendy's in, good goalkeeper. Again, I don't know what Arrizabalaga is doing there. So we'll see what we get in on Sunday. But, down on the day, down on the week. We didn't really lose any arbitrage money. We did the FanDuel same-game parlay, so we just moved $5 in cash into $5 in free bet. A little heartbreaker this week on those same-game parlays. We put in 2 of them, and we lost both of them by 1 leg. So we're knock on the door to get a same-game parlay hit. We just haven't gotten there. That's why those books want you to make same-game parlays. It's hard to predict, 4+ things within one singular match to all happen. That's why they love same-game parlays. They gobble up all the cash. Doesn't matter if you see those tweets and they, say, hey, this guy hit this big leg. They're raking in the cash, obviously, from everybody else missing by 1 leg or so. And unfortunately, that's been us. But, yeah, maybe we'll hopefully we can get a hit right there. So, Adrian, you live bet Man City 1-0. Love to see that. We were on TikTok watching that game. And I told people that game's either going to go 0-0 or one team can win 1-0. That's the way that game was unfolding. We talked about it on TikTok. You can see it from a mile away. That game had no goals written all over it. Morning to Jet. Morning. Hope you and hope everybody else is doing well. Let's go ahead and kick it off, and let's just go ahead and roll right into some bets. Let's not hold everything up. Let's go ahead and throw those soccer bets up. One of those we've already given out, and one of those is in action today. Manchester United taking on Everton. We'll take United's team total over. We'll parlay that with Everton's team total under, and we'll go ahead and get that at -108. Then we'll go ahead and dabble into the action this weekend. Got Crystal Palace taking on Southampton. Southampton in 20th place. They're going to want to exit from this tournament real fast. But that being said, I mean, Crystal Palace is better, right? They've already beaten them this season 1-0 at Selhurst Park. This match is at Selhurst Park. Struggling Southampton team. I think they're a bona fide fade going forward. And we'll go ahead and fade them here in this FA Cup match with the Crystal Palace money line at -106. I will say, in this FA Cup, you can get draws. It doesn't go to extra time, doesn't go to penalties. There will be a replay if there's a draw, but no draw needed right there. Crystal Palace is going to get the job done. And then we'll go ahead and do a three-legged parlay. You've got Tottenham, Leicester, and Newcastle in a parlay at -103. Tottenham, they're going up against Portsmouth. They're in League One. Newcastle's taking on Sheffield. They're in League One. And then Leicester's taking on Gillingham. They're in League Two. So just big boy Premier League clubs. They should all certainly get the job done. Do they cover any team total margin? Do they do it both teams to score? I'm not confident in any of that, but I'm confident that the big boy clubs from the Premier League can, go against League One and League Two competition and certainly get the job done. So we'll do that at -103. And then kind of the same parlay there with Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Brentford. Liverpool is taking on Wolves. Another team, just like Southampton, Wolves just full-on struggling and really don't want much of a part of this competition. They want to remain in the Premier League. So we like Liverpool knocking them off. Aston Villa, they're taking on Stevanovic. They're in League One. They're going to Villa Park. It's at Villa Park. They'll take care of business. And Brentford's taking on West Ham. We just saw this match being played at West Ham. Now this one's at Brentford. And Brentford was by far better than West Ham. Moyes and West Ham, they're also struggling in a relegation fight. Now you move this one away from Olympia Stadium and you put it in Brentford Stadium. I like it even more so. And they don't have to win the game. They just need a win or draw. So we'll do that one in a parlay. 2 money lines and a double chance at +115. Otherwise, we'll probably avoid the FA Cup. Again, trying to predict. I think these totals or both teams to score or overs can get a little dicey. So we'll just take teams to win and do the job. Just like Real Madrid, right? They went down against the lower side and they got the job done. They didn't cover a margin. That's why we don't want to ask these teams to cover a margin, but just go down and get the job done. Fully expect that to happen. So that's how we'll roll this week in the Premier League. Let's go ahead and turn our attention now to the NBA. Before I run through my bets, we'll kind of set the stage on the games and give you guys how I've got the games going down, totals, all that good stuff that everybody likes to hear. So Blazers, Pacers. Pacers will win the game by 3 points with a total of 229. Bulls and 76ers. 76ers will win by 5 with a total of 227. Obviously, Joel Embiid is out. My numbers don't ever really factor in, or they never factor in injury, so certainly not going to bet that one with Embiid out. But the numbers is 76ers by 5 with a total of 227. Pelicans and Nets. Pelicans will win the game by 4 with a total of 228. That one's always funny when people are like, hey, Zion's out. Yeah, no shit. Zion's always out. That dude misses 30, 40 games a season. The numbers are factoring in him being out of that game. Trust me, that guy is he's unreliable as hell. So Pelicans will win the game by 4, total of 228. Knicks Raptors, that one's 112 to 112 based on the numbers. So you flip a coin and see who's going to win that game. Give me a total of 224. Hornets and Bucks. Bucks will win the game by 8 points with a total of 230. Wizards and Thunders. Thunders will win the game by 2 with a total of 230. Spurs and Pistons. Spurs by 1, total of 231. Heat and Suns. Suns will win the game by 4, the total of 222. And then Hawks and Lakers. Give me the Lakers by 3 with a total of 233. The only bet I may add that I'm not going to show up here on the screen is Knicks +4, but it's getting kind of better. Is it still? Let me get a quick look here and see if it's still +4. It's been going up. It's been getting better. That's why I haven't pulled the trigger. It's still sitting at +4. We got time before we even make a decision on that. But what I am going to go ahead and get locked in on here from an NBA sides and totals perspective is I'm going to take advantage of the Pacers winning the game by 3 and just take them on the money line at -115. Then we'll go ahead and do an under in Hornets Bucks, under 234.5. We'll go ahead and do Knicks and Raptors. I gave it out initially last night at 220.5. Woke up this morning and it was down to 218.5. I'll come back in again. I love a good bet when we're fading the public. Those cashes feel damn sweet. So go right back in and roll. I don't even second guess it. Blazers, Pacers, we'll do under 235. Again, I had that one at, 229. Pistons Spurs under 236. And Lakers Hawks under 242. I got the game scored at 232. You know how this public feels. LeBron, Trae Young, scoring. Yeah, we've seen this all play out. Just look last night at the Mavericks Celtics. Everybody thought that was going to be high scoring, and the under cruised to a nice easy win. We got a lot of unders, and Rob even called it out on Twitter. He said unders are sweaty, and they certainly are sweaty. Rob's certainly right by that. But you know what they also are, Rob? Good value on the numbers, because the public loves scoring. The public don't want to root for unders. They want to root for a good, exciting game, high scoring. That's why most of my bets are unders, because that's where the biggest discrepancy is. After the public takes the numbers and drives it up higher, you come in behind them and take the under. It's pretty simple logic, and again, that's why we take unders, and that's why we cash unders. They're sweaty as hell, Rob. I hear you, man. Sweaty as hell. We get 73 points in a quarter. Hell, you can still get a good cash. So hold on to your ass. Lock in, boys. And let's sweat our way to the cash counter. That's what I have to say about those. Let's keep it on going with some NBA player props. The Nuggets are going to win by 30 again. Yeah, they beat up on whoever it was last night. Oh, correct. Speaking of last night, we correctly laid off my two favorite player props yesterday. Reggie Jackson over on assists. He didn't do a goddamn thing. And Nikola Jokic. He should have had a good night based on the numbers, and he didn't do a goddamn thing last night. So sometimes the bets you don't make end up being the best bets, and we would have lost 2 units if we would have put those in, but we stayed off. I just wasn't feeling it. We wasn't feeling the vibe, and obviously the blowout probably contributed to both of those guys staying under those numbers. So Adrian got the nice win last night on those Vegas Knights money line. Nice hit there, Adrian. Love to see it. Never seen an over I didn't like. I know, right? That's what the public says. I love that. I'm going to leave that comment up while we keep talking. I love that comment right there. All right, let's go ahead and move it on to some NBA player props. We got to go back to our guy, C.J. McCollum. The one thing I like about C.J. McCollum, we've been betting him over the years. Obviously, we did the free jersey giveaway, is with this guy, you're getting volume. I mean, this guy is full of volume. He may not hit his number each and every single time, but he's going to give you an opportunity. So love the volume. Obviously, we're not betting it because of the volume. The Nets are 25th in the NBA defending the three-point position. They're below average versus the point guard position. You can do over 2.5 on DraftKings with the whole hell of a lot of juice, or you can go over to BetMGM. You can go over to FanDuel, and you can grab over 3.5 at good plus money, like plus 142, plus 135 over it there. I'm going to do the number over on DraftKings at 2.5. And then I scoured all the soccer leagues this weekend trying to find us an over 1.5 parlay and couldn't find enough matches to put together a parlay. So I'll just grab my favorite one. It's in the Turkish league. It's tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. We'll grab that one and we'll parlay it with over 1.5 goals. So CJ McCollum tonight, over 2.5 made 3-pointers. And this soccer game, again, is in the Turkish Super League. We'll go ahead and take over 1.5 goals. And, of course, if we're taking it down, I like over 2.5, but we're in a parlay, so no reason to risk it there. While we're talking about 3-pointers, want to mention DeAnthony Melton, shooting guard there for the 76ers. We're not getting any lines yet for that game, at least from the 76ers side outside of Harden, because I think of Embiid's out, but I want this guy. Bulls are 29th in the league in defending three-point position, and they're dead last in the NBA defending the shooting guard position from 3. So I want DeAnthony Melton's line for 3-pointers. You're getting him at home. NBA players obviously perform better at home. I want that line. That's the number I want, DeAnthony Melton. I want to add that. I want to add that to Miles Turner, over 1.5 turnovers. Bam Adebayo, over 2.5 turnovers. And Jakob Poeltl, over 1.5 turtles. If we go ahead and look at Turner here, the Blazers are averaging 2.8 turnovers per game to the center position. He just played these Blazers on December 4th when he got 4 turnovers. His monthly average is 2.5, 1.7, 2.7, and 1.4. So right around this number, give it to me at plus money. And a bet that cashed easily on December 4th, I can't stay away from that one. What about Adebayo up against the Suns? Well, they're averaging 3.2 turnovers per game against the center position. It's cashed in 7 of the last 10 games. You're giving me plus money at over 2.5. Can't stay away from that one. And then coming in here for the Pistons, they're averaging 3.3 turnovers per game to the center position. It's cashed in 3 of Poeltl's last 5 games, and it's cashed in 3 straight Pistons games. So gladly took over 1.5 turnovers there for Jakob Poeltl. That's how we'll roll tonight there in the NBA from a player prop perspective. Let's go ahead and had a comment just come in. You think minus 136 bet is good? Which bet we talking about, Adrian? Depends on which one you're talking about. I don't have anything close to minus 136. So yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Drop in one more line just to clarify that one, just a touch. I will say, while Adrian drops in another comment in this video description, we've been talking about NFL incentives. I found more articles. I find videos on TikTok where guys put content together talking about players' incentives. I've got a lot of that in this video description. So read the video description, find out which players are knocking on the door for a big payday. I will say, guys want to just assume that these are great plays. Guys, if you know the information, Vegas knows the information. You ain't sitting on any piece of information that Vegas doesn't know. And they're going to inflate those lines on those players. So be careful. And then there's some other ones where you got, two teammates. It's like Zay Jones and Kristen Kirk. The Jaguars can't force the ball into either one of those players. They're playing for a division title. So I know why those guys are close. And the numbers, I already looked on DraftKings. They're like, one's like 58.5 receiving yards. I think the other one's at 52. One guy needs like 80 yards. I think the other guy needs like 70. So you would think, yeah. But they ain't going to force the ball to those two players. They're going to force the ball wherever the hell they need to go to win a game so they can be the AFC South champions and host a playoff game the following week. So just be careful again, guys. If something looks easy, it's never as easy as it looks. You're going to find yourself into a sweat. Vegas knows these incentives. They know who's on the line, and they'll inflate the lines accordingly and try and suck you in. So just be a little bit careful. Under 2.5 in a Mexican soccer game. I don't know. I've never researched a Mexican soccer game, so I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know anything about the stats, so I don't know anything about that, man. I can't help you out there. All right, we move on in now into NFL Week 18. What about it? It's going to be a good NFL Week 18. A Week 18 that can certainly trip you up. A lot of meaningless games, obviously, out there. A lot of games where you've got one team fighting for the playoffs, another team not. We shared the stat, was it 2 days ago, where it was like 57, 93, and 5, where teams that's the record against the spread for a team that needs to get in the playoffs, going up against a team that's not in the playoffs. I can pull up the exact number. I think now that I'm saying that, I think I shared that stat on Twitter one night when we were hanging out. I'll find the exact number. I know who sent the tweet out. Let me scroll through his Twitter feed. So this is teams fighting for the. Here we go. Here's a tweet right here. This is teams fighting for the playoffs, going up against a team has nothing to play for per se. Those teams are 57, 95, and 4 against the spread. That's 37.6%. So don't think that there's just some big motivation factor where the Pittsburgh Steelers need a win to help themselves get in the playoffs, going up against the Browns. They got nothing to play for. I can tell you why that stat is a low percentage, because the NFL did a great thing years ago, changing the last week of the NFL to be all divisional games. So it's all teams that know each other, all teams where the Browns would want like hell to keep the Steelers out of the playoffs. And they've got motivation to do that themselves. So just pump the brakes a little bit if you start just grabbing Seahawks money line, if you're just grabbing Steelers money line. That stat is staggering, 37.6% against the spread. So it's not just a straight up home run dunk. We do know Bills-Bengals, that game is no longer going to be played. They're going to no contest it. That you probably guys have seen all the tweets and seen the information. It's gotten to be a little bit of a mess. Looks like it favors the Chiefs. All the Chiefs have to do is win the game, and they're the number 1 seed, which a little bit of a tough spot right there for Bills fans, because obviously the Bills knocked off the Chiefs, and we own the tiebreaker. But the Chiefs would get it because they have a better win percentage because they played one less game. A little bit of a tough doing right there. It looks like the league may have done the Chiefs a favor and done Mahomes a favor, but that is what it is. At least DeMar Hamlin is the tubes out. He did a call to the team today. I'm sure he riled those boys up. So, yeah, I'm sure he did. Let's go ahead and get into some NFL bets. I've only got one that I wanted to lock in right now. Bills -7. Bills -7, -105 on FanDuel. You probably think this is because of DeMar Hamlin. Nah, it's not because of DeMar Hamlin. You guys remember we played this bet about a month or so ago. Bills -6.5. Bills -6.5, and we got an easy cash. Why did we play Bills -6.5 about a month and a half ago? The Bills been beating up on the Patriots, and Josh Allen became like the Josh Allen that he is. They've covered this in 4 of their last 5 games. We talked about this a month and a half ago. What was the game they didn't cover? That was the one that was windy as all hell, and the Patriots just ran it down the Bills' throat, and the Bills couldn't do shit. This is going to be good weather. Good weather. I'm not betting this on DeMar Hamlin. I'm betting this on because the Bills have been kicking the shit out of the Patriots lately. This is a home game for the Bills. Win, give yourself a chance to win the number 1 seed. And then if you want to add in any DeMar Hamlin motivation, I bet that call today, I bet he riled up the troops. And, there's been reports of what his father said to the team. The team's going to be ready to go. As long as the Bills are ready to go, and I believe they will be ready to go. Because if guys, you step on that field and you're not in it mentally, that's when you hurt your own body. They're going to be ready to go. And if the Bills are ready to go, they've just been destroying the Patriots lately. So got no problem doing Bills -7. Think they'll stick it to them. And there's been easy covers. We talked about this a month and a half ago. Been very easy covers against the Patriots lately. So I'll roll in with that one. I've got my eye on some other ones, but want to wait on some more news. You've also got news of like Tyrod Taylor possibly going to start for the New York Giants. I would love his rushing prop. He was a quarterback for the Bills for a handful of seasons. We already know the Giants love to run Daniel Jones. Well, now they get to run a guy that's probably a touch better at running. He was a great runner when he was at Buffalo Bills. Couldn't throw the ball worth shit. So I'll take Tyrod Taylor's over on his rushing prop. So there's some ones out there, but it's kind of late in the season. You kind of just need a little bit more information, I think, before you can just go hung crazy there on the NFL. So that's kind of where we're at. Maybe we do play some of these incentives. There's guys that are like 1 sack away. We'll see what the lines come out. There's no lines out. Like Zadarius Smith for the Vikings, he only needs 1 sack. Carl Lawson of the Jets, he only needs 1 sack. You could see late game, they dial up some pressure, overload their side, and get Smith in one-on-one with the quarterback, or Lawson in one-on-one with the quarterback. Again, we don't have any lines. If that line comes in at 1.5, you don't want a piece of that. So just need to see the numbers. Vegas is going to inflate that stuff. Like I said, if you know it, they know it too. Sorry, Ross. It was. I mean, based on the numbers, it was good, but yeah, I just started looking into that game, not from a numbers perspective. The assist was still a good angle if you were going to play it, but it just, these TNT games, for whatever reason, on Thursday night are blowouts. I mean, just week in, week out, Thursday night TNT, they're shitty games and they're blowouts. Sorry, Ross. I'm sorry, man. You heard if the Raiders and Ravens will make the things easier on the NFL. Yeah, I think if you're a person that believes that the NFL is rigged and conspiracy theorists out there, throw all your money on the Raiders. It would certainly help the league. If the Raiders were able to knock it off. And to your point, even if the Ravens were able to knock it off. We do know that the Bengals are AFC North champs regardless, even if the Ravens win, because the Bengals have a better win percentage, so the Bengals win the North, even though they would get swept by the Ravens in that scenario. Some teams are being a little unfair done, but again, something that's never happened. Everybody's just going to be happy for DeMar Hamlin, and the fact that DeMar Hamlin is looking like he's coming around. I mean, shit. I mean, what a remarkable recovery. So happy for the guy and his family and everything. So, all right, fellas, I think that's the sheet. Anybody else got anything else? It's a loaded weekend. It's an absolute loaded weekend, money-making weekend. All kicks off here on the FA Cup. Big basketball night. These sides and over-unders have been really good to us. Look forward to being another good night to us here at the sides and the NBAs. And then player props. I hadn't started researching those turnover angles until this week. At 1-1, obviously plus money because both of them were plus money. And see if we can go 3-0 or 2-1 tonight, worst case, and pull in some more profit on the turnover angle. So otherwise, look for me on Twitter. We got DeAnthony Melton. Boy, do I want a piece of him. Again, Bulls 29th defending the 3 and worse versus that shooting guard position. So I want a piece of DeAnthony Melton. That line actually should be around 2.5 is what we should get that line. So just kind of keep your eye out for DeAnthony Melton over 2.5 line. And if so, just look for me on Twitter. I'm almost certain I'll grab it and gobble it up. Otherwise, in terms of content, we'll be hanging out on TikTok Live again today. That United versus Everton game. I think we've been hung out every day this week on TikTok watching soccer. And let's do it again today. Big FA Cup game at Old Trafford with United taking on Everton. So look forward to catching that with you guys. You like Devontae Adams anytime touchdown? Yeah, I mean, you guys know I usually do NFL player props. I usually release those Saturday night. Kids go to bed. Really dig in the research. And then also the numbers. I mean, you go look at the sports books. There's not a lot of NFL player props up. I mean, it's not me also holding back the picks. It's the sports books holding back the numbers. So those usually come out Saturday night. Gotcha. Next bet. Next bet. Yes, sir. Next bet. All right, Ross, everybody else, Adrian, DeGent, everybody else who's hanging out there, enjoying the show, enjoying your coffee, enjoying your sports. Have yourselves a great Friday. Come on back on Monday. We'll see where this unfolds, and then we'll kick off another week here of winning bets. Have a good one, fellas.